Hi, my name is Mary Sloan, and I really want to thank you for downloading my app, Defiaging Drink Wine. I hope you will find it incredibly useful. It's intended to be useful. I get teased a lot about the fact that you can't drink wine and actually defy aging because alcohol, as we know, is not particularly good for us. But that's some alcohol, and it's an abuse of alcohol. What I'm talking about is primarily red wine because of the resveratrol in it, but there's lots of other benefits from wine that don't come from the alcohol, and we're going to talk about those. So I hope that you have fun. I'm certainly intending. We are going to talk about the science, and this is based on this book, Lifespan: Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to, by David Sinclair, PhD. And he operates out of Harvard Health, and that's a pretty competent school of medicine. And the latest on the science of aging is coming out of David's department. So it's very, very interesting that we can be on the leading edge. And also the fact that he maintains that while getting older is inevitable, time passes, we know that. But aging is a disease. And he's out to prove that and get that actually set up as a disease. And as a disease, guess what? It's preventable. And that's what we want to do. So we want to prevent aging and enjoy getting older. The thing that really turned me on to getting older and drinking wine and why that might be good for you was I follow David on Twitter, and I recommend you do as well if this interests you. It's not the bad part of Twitter. We don't have shouting matches. As a matter of fact, we have very interesting discussions and breakouts and all kinds of good things. So Twitter can be for good as well. But in any event, I follow him. And one day he came out with this most interesting announcement. The oldest man in America and the oldest woman in America both were interviewed recently, and both attributed their long life to drinking wine. Well, okay, I was in. I knew there was good to come from this. So that's kind of what inspired this app was, yes, we can defy aging, and yes, we can still drink wine. So let's get started. What we're going to need is we're going to need to talk about our mindset, your weight, yes, it matters, your diet, what you put in your mouth matters, fasting. Now, this is something that isn't really understood, but it's coming back more and more to be understood. It has been practiced by human beings for a very long time, but we have forgotten it. We got into a society where they decided 3 meals a day were essential and everybody needed to start eating at 7 a.m. That's nonsense, absolute nonsense. And you can see the result. People are way overweight. So we want to change that. You need to exercise. We're a bunch of muscles. Muscles need exercise. So we'll be working on that. We also need rest, relaxation, pleasure, and a future to look forward to. So let's talk about what we'll do here. One thing I want you to understand about mindset, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Said, I believe, initially by Henry Ford, said frequently by many other mindset specialists, but we really have that kind of power in our mind. So we need to take control and not let it control us. Your weight or body fat, there's a lot of ways to measure it. There's the BMI index. And, unfortunately, it finds a lot of us are obese. The body fat indicator, which needs some help, but it helps a little bit in the fact that at least it gives us, men and women are different. Women get to have more fat. We are intended to have that by our maker. And we need to understand how much fat we've got versus how much muscle we've got. And we've got to get the ratios right or better than they have been. What you eat may be killing you, perhaps slowly or perhaps rapidly. Two of the things we're going to talk about and get rid of from our diet is sugar, one of those very rapid killers. And so we're going to be doing a monthly sugar detox. Scientists now tell us that sugar is like cocaine. It's that addictive and it's that bad for us. In fact, scientists have said if sugar were discovered today, it would be on the list of prohibited drugs or very restricted drugs. Sadly, we have it everywhere, and it is as addictive as cocaine. So we are going to have to do something about that. Gluten, a more controversial killer, but your life will be happier and healthier without it. This is the stuff of bread, donuts, all those yummy, gooey, tasty treats that we all have learned to love, but they're not good for us. So we will want to kill them. And we will want to eat to live. Partial or intermittent fasting. One healthy way people can limit their food intake is by deciding on windows of time during which they will and will not eat. This having to have breakfast first thing in the morning, that we made up recently. And that is really not good. We are intended to have 12 to 14 to 16 hours of fast between our last meal at night and our first meal in the day. That's why we have breakfast, to break the fast. But we forgot about fasting. We go to bed still eating at 10 p.m. and we get up and start eating again at 7 a.m. and there has been no fast. So we want to put that fast back in. People find that taking days where they don't eat anything. Often Fridays used to be a day of fasting where you fasted all day and had an evening meal. That's a great thing to reinstitute. So we'll think about ways that we can take charge of how much food we're putting in and the periods of time that we're putting food in. Exercise. There's lots and lots of different ways to exercise, and we need lots of them because we have muscles all over the place that all need different kinds of exercise in order to keep us strong. As people age, they have a tendency to start to fall. We don't want that to happen to you. We want you to be strong, able, and enjoying life for a very long period of time. Rest and relaxation. Doesn't it feel great to completely relax? Once again, we live in a very stressful world. Since we've had COVID, I think stress has gone up maximally. I mean, you're always getting new dictates, what you should and shouldn't do, what you can and can't do, what's good for you, what isn't good for you, what will keep you alive, what won't. It's been a very, very frightening year, and people are stressed. So we want to take the stress level down. Pleasure. Pleasure is important. And I believe that one of the reasons that the oldest man and the oldest woman said one of the things that's kept us alive all this time is a glass of wine a day. I'm going to recommend we start and keep that habit. But remember, that's one glass of wine a day, maybe two. Break it up, lunch and dinner, before your meal, after your meal, whatever works for you. But we're going to keep the number of glasses down, but the pleasure up. And finally, you want to look forward to an exciting future, something that gets you up every morning, makes you leap out of bed, wants to take on the day. And I want you to keep looking ahead, asking, what's next? What more can I do? How can I do this? How can I do this? Have a long and exciting bucket list. Robert Evans, my friend, is helping me with the app, has an app devoted simply to the bucket list. Download it. Enjoy it. Get lots of things on your bucket list. My bucket list includes winery tours all over the world. I've done a lot of it already, and I intend to do a whole lot more once we can fly, once the skies open up. And so I hope that when we start to do these winery tours, you'll consider taking in one or two or three of them because we want to have a great time and have a lot to look forward to. Thanks a lot. I hope you'll enjoy the app. We'll be talking about all sorts of things to defy aging and drink wine.